911, what's your emergency? 911, what's your emergency?
Be advised, car 4 has control of the pursuit. Proceed with caution.
Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? Hello? Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. Thank you. I don't think my regular mic is working right this second, and I'm not sure what's going on. But as long as you can hear me, I'm going to go ahead and go on with the live stream, and I'll figure it out after the stream. Sorry, guys. It's been a morning. It's been a minute. Hey, Tech Def. Good to see you. Hey, Polygraph. Hey, Rescue All the Dogs. How are you? Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Mary Flynn. I'm good. Thank you so much. Hey, Simon. How are you? Thank you for being here. Hey, Jill. How are you? Good to see you. Hey, Lisa. Thank you so much for being here, my dear. Hey, Beach Fairy. Morning. Hey, Maria. Good to see you, my dear. Have missed you. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, True Crime Housewife. True Crime Housewife. Hey, Phil. Hi, Mandy. How are you? Good to see you. Well, good. I'm glad you guys have all joined me this morning. My grandson is at home. His mom is done with school for a few weeks, and the kids go back here on August the 1st because we have year-round school here. So they're on a continuous schedule. So they get a lot of time off throughout the year. So like they get a fall break, they get a Christmas break, they get a spring break, and then they get their summer break. And it really is the best way for school, in my opinion, because they don't lose what they've learned throughout the year by being off for 3 months with, no classes for their retention. So I really think it's good. Kids get super bored in the summer when they have so much time off. Lots of families don't have the resources to send their kids to camps and things like that to keep them busy and occupied. So it's really worked out well here for us. And my grandkids love school. And they look forward to it, or they did. My oldest one's done, but my middle one is going to be a junior in high school, and then my little one starts kindergarten on August 1st. So anyway, he's with his mother for a couple weeks, and so I am back to doing my morning live on Tuesday. And so that's what's kind of going there. I think it's fun because I do like to have him here because he's so much company for me. We have so much fun together. We do so many different cool things, and he's just at that age where everything is just exploding, and he's really becoming more interested in what's going on in the world, and so many questions about that. So it's kind of fun to have that with him, and I'm going to miss it these next couple weeks. I'm sure I'll have him a day or two in there. I always try to give his mom a break so she can get things done and run errands and stuff like that. So I'm sure I will have him. But I hope everybody had a really great weekend. I did have a really great weekend, and my best friend of well over 50 years, she and I met when we were 9 years old, and we have been inseparable pretty much ever since we met. And even though I have lived and moved away from our hometown many times over the years, we've never lost contact. We've always been super, super close. And we ended up settling our lives and raising our kids less than 5 minutes from each other. So it's been kind of amazing. But anyway, she's Lebanese, and we have a huge Lebanese community here, and they have 2 big events a year at their club that they have. And this past weekend was the shish kebab. And so we went to that, and you guys, if you haven't eaten great Lebanese food, I cannot tell you how delicious it is. I grew up on it, but it was really good. It was lots of fun. And so I got to do that this weekend. We had T-ball, some fun stuff. What was I going to tell you? I wanted to tell you something else, and I was trying to remember what it was that I wanted to say to you. Oh goodness. I guess it'll come to me. I'm not going to worry about it, and it'll come to me. But anyway, so I was sitting there last night trying to debate on what my topics were going to be about today. And actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about that because it seems like it's a never-ending thing with Delphi, where people, we really want to talk about the case. We really want to have Delphi content. Everybody wants Delphi content. And I've talked about this before. And really right now, there's not a lot of content regarding Delphi. We're in the midst of trial preparation. Oh, thank you so much, Maria. It's one of my favorites. It's really boho and reminds me of the 60s. And so, yeah, it's when I grew up and was wild and all of that. So anyway, you could probably plan to have a Delphi show, but there's really not a lot to talk about. And hey, Shane, good to see you. And I don't mind discussing Delphi, but after a while, it's like we just talk about the same stuff over and over and over again. Now, with that being said, I enjoyed thoroughly my live stream on Friday with the captain from True Crime Garage and Fig Solves and Skip Jansen. What a fantastic trio of men who really are invested in this case for all the right reasons. They each bring something different to the table, but their conversation and really talking to them about the case, I can talk to them about it for hours. They all have different insights, and like I said, such different personalities. but what a great time that was. And I don't mind, like I said, doing panels on Delphi, but I get really, really tired of what I want to call sensationalized content around Delphi that is on YouTube. It really bugs me. And there's a lot of it out there right now. And I just don't understand why people get into true crime if that's the kind of stuff that they're going to do, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. But, to each their own, I guess. So we're not going to talk probably a whole lot about that case today. I do want to talk a little bit more about it, but what I really want to talk about is what transpired overnight with Bryan Kohberger. So the Idaho case, the Idaho murder case, I'm sure everybody that is here is familiar with the Idaho case. And it was really interesting because I was watching a Law and Crime Network show, the Sidebar, yesterday afternoon, early evening. And they were just talking about the fact that they had only 30 days left to decide whether the state was going to pursue the death penalty. Well, guess what? They did file it. They did the filing yesterday morning at 9:09 a.m. in the Latah County court. So in the district court of the 2nd Judicial District of the state of Idaho. And this is what it says. I'm going to read the filing to you. So, yeah, CJK, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But thank you so much for bringing it up, because you are right. It is ridiculous and immature. So comes now the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney, and hereby gives notice to the court, the defendant and his counsel, pursuant to Idaho Code 184004A, that as of this point in time and based on the information known to the state to date, the following statutory aggravating circumstances pursuant to Idaho Code 1925159 appear to exist in this case as to the crimes of murder in the first degree as charged in counts 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the indictment herein. Idaho Code 1925159B, at the time the murder was committed, the defendant also committed another murder, and or Idaho Code 1925159E, the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, and or Idaho Code 1925159F, by the murder or circumstances surrounding its commission, the defendant exhibited utter disregard for human life, and or Idaho Code 1925159G, the murder was committed in the perpetration of or attempt to perpetrate arson, rape, robbery, burglary, kidnapping, or mayhem, and the defendant killed, intended a killing, or acted with reckless indifference to human life, and or Idaho Code 1925159I, the defendant by his conduct, whether such conduct was before, during, or after the commission of the murder at hand, has exhibited a propensity to commit murder, which will probably constitute a continuing threat to society. The state gives this notice based on the fact that it has not identified or been provided with any mitigating circumstances sufficient to prohibit the triers of fact from considering all penalties authorized by the Idaho legislature, including the possibility of a capital sentence. Consequently, considering all evidence currently known to the state, The state is compelled to file this notice of intent to seek the death penalty. The state will continue to review additional information as it is received and reserves its statutory right to amend or withdraw this notice. Respectfully submitted this 26th day of June, 2023, William W. Thompson, Jr., prosecuting attorney. So, the state is going to pursue the death penalty in Idaho. I don't think that that's much of a surprise to any of us. I don't think it should be. The acts sorry guys. The acts that were committed on November 13th against Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee were extremely vicious, without regard to human life. They were cruel. He came in the dead of night when they were sleeping. They had no idea of what was about to happen to them. And he did it, to me, in a slow and horrific manner by using a knife. Now, in the commission of this crime, I mean, people can talk about the death penalty, and we could get into why the death penalty is bad, good, or otherwise. I struggle with my own moral self with the death penalty itself. And I do have trouble sometimes with how it is doled out. However, in this particular case, I completely and totally understand why the state is seeking it and why the families would want it. Now, with that being said, I think it's amazing the stance that Ethan's family has taken upon this, because they have come out and said that the death penalty is not going to bring their son back, and they really aren't seeking that. They, life in prison would be good enough for them, because they're just going to move on and try to keep Ethan's legacy alive and work for positive things. And I think that speaks volumes to the type of people that they are. I don't know that I could do that. In fact, I know I couldn't do that. If my child had succumbed to what their child has succumbed to, I would be livid and desperately wanting the ultimate justice, in my opinion. Now, what does that mean for Bryan Kohberger? There is so much going on with this case. There, even though there's a gag order, there's a lot of little things that are happening behind the scenes that I think are really, really interesting and telling. If you notice, there is information being leaked or talked about in the press. The defense has come out and said in court filings that Bryan has no connection to any of the victims, none. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, there is rumor out there, and it's been reported, that he actually was in some sort of a conversation on Instagram with one or two of these victims. That has not been proven in court or anything. This, again, is just I don't know. This is just, I don't want to say it's hearsay, because it's actually investigative reporters that have reported on it. But it's just one of those things that we don't have factual confirmation of, either by the police or in a court of law. So we have to kind of take that, I think, a little bit with a grain of salt. Now, what does it mean for the case if he did or didn't? He may not have had any kind of a relationship or connection with these people. However, he may have stalked them. Maybe he, saw their social media, saw whatever, or saw them out somewhere at a bar or wherever, and decided at that point in time that these were the ideal victims. We don't know. Obviously, he's not talking, and he's not going to yet. And we're going to have to wait again until we get confirmation in court. And the defense has, they're doing their job. They're doing their job both in Delphi and in Idaho, because their total job is to not necessarily defend their client, because they don't have to prove anything. What they have to do is plant that seed of reasonable doubt in the minds of prospective jurors. And that's what they have to do. And the narrative is out there. That's what they're doing. They are looking at the fact they came out and said in the last day or two that there was no forensic evidence found of the victims on Brian's attire, in his apartment, in his parents' home, or his car. How can that possibly be if he committed the most horrific of acts that they're talking about? It would have been, they've already said it was a horrifically brutal scene, blood everywhere. He would have had that upon him. How could he not have gotten that in his car? There is also rumor that he bleached the car. So, I mean, what do we, you got to remember, Brian Kohberger is a student of crime, and he's studying criminology. So he knows things to do and what not to do with a crime scene. We also know that he drove all kinds of weird routes when heading back to Pullman, Washington after that morning. He could have gotten rid of all kinds of evidence along the driving trip. It's very possible clothing, all of it was planned out and gotten rid of. And he didn't keep any of it, and he didn't take any of it back to his apartment. I've even thought about whether, because he was gone for so long, and it took him so long to get back to Pullman with this whole driving around he did, he could have very easily washed up somewhere, whether it be in a bathroom somewhere or whatever. He definitely could have done that, and it's quite possible. I don't think he's at all stupid in any fashion, even though it seems like, if you're going to commit this type of crime, knowing what he does know and the schooling that he has had, you would think that he would have, thought about the cell phone more and thought about them being able to track him. And I don't think he expected his car to be caught speeding away from the crime scene either. Now, again, Brian Kohberger is innocent until proven guilty. However, I think there's a lot of damning evidence here. We have his DNA now that they're stating on the knife sheath. And the defense is fighting tooth and nail to get the DNA technology evidence that they used for the familial DNA testing that actually brought them to Brian Kohberger as their suspect. And, you know, a lot can be said about DNA evidence, but we have gotten so much better at understanding DNA, and the testing of it has become more intricate every single year. And I totally and absolutely believe in this genealogical DNA testing that they're doing, where they're building family trees and they trace back. And that's how they found Brian. But now they're saying that they can actually tell it was Brian without that. So I think, we have to look at this. This was a crime that was, in my opinion, thought out, maybe not well, but it was planned. It was thought out. It wasn't just a spur of the moment thing. And he cased that house. He was there over 12 times that they know of, in the middle of the night, casing that house, watching the comings and goings. Do you think for 1 minute that he didn't know that house was a party house and that they had people in and out of there all the time, as college kids will, especially kids who live off campus, who have that availability to have parties and have friends over and whatever. So to me, he already knew that. They're talking about the fact that there was other DNA found in the house. Give me a break. There should be other DNA found in the house. There should be other male DNA found in that house. They all had friends and boyfriends and people coming and going. It would be weird if there wasn't. So yeah, those are the kinds of things that are being talked about on the crime TV shows that you watch and listen to. And this is just the normal things that happen in criminal cases, you guys. They're, to see all the motions and see all the attempts to suppress evidence or to have evidence thrown out or to suppress witness statements or to suppress whatever the evidence may be. These are the kinds of things that happen in a trial and the lead up to a trial when someone is convicted of especially these types of crimes. You are going to see a fight tooth and nail for every little piece of evidence, because the defense has to try to get stuff thrown out that may be damning to their client. And that's what they're up against. And that's what they're trying to do. And to me, people are like, well, maybe there was somebody else. Maybe it wasn't Brian. I just find that really hard to believe at this point. Everything screams that it was him. So I'm going to have to see some pretty different evidence come forward to think otherwise. Now, one of the things I did want to bring up is you guys have probably seen photos of Brian in his last court appearance where he was all decked out in his suit and he looked, very well put together. Reminded me more of a college professor than a criminal. And someone accused of what he's accused of. And in retrospect, if you look at that picture of him, and then you look at the picture of Richard Allen being brought into court, in his orange jumpsuit shackled in his arms, around with his arms, together around his waist, along with his legs shackled together. What a different visual we have of these two men charged with horrific crimes, both of them. I don't think any of us would disagree with that. But man, what a difference in the treatment of them. Now, with that being said, it's very, very possible that Richard Allen's defense team wanted him to come to court that way, wanted him to look that way, so that they can still push the narrative of him being mistreated in jail, in a prison, not a county jail, pre-trial, all of that. Hey, Don, how are you? And so I'm kind of, like I said, I am, I have differing opinions about what's going on with Richard Allen. My whole point is move him. Move him to a county jail and be done with it. If this is going to cause this kind of an uproar pre-trial, we don't want anything bad to happen to him. We want this to be able to be adjudicated in a just and fair manner. I don't want anything to happen that's going to, hey, Smoke and Tea, I don't want anything to happen to him or to this case to where it will be overturned on appeal. To me, what would be the worst possible thing would be to have a conviction of Richard Allen in court and then have it overturned on appeal. I would be really, really upset with that. Now, Stephanie brings up a good point. What happens if they move him and he is killed, or something happens to him in prison or in county jail? Well, that's something they're going to have to really try to prevent. Now, Cass County has said that they can do that. They can protect him. They can provide him with that kind of protection. What does that kind of protection mean in jail? It means isolation, you guys. It's the only way that you can protect someone that's incarcerated, is by isolating them from the other population. So, you see what I mean? It's like that you can't have both. You can't have him not be isolated and have all these great treatments because it's pre-trial. He's been incarcerated, you guys. He's been arrested. And when you are arrested, there are certain things that are going to happen, whether you like it or not, whether you're innocent or not. So that's why Carroll County doesn't want him. It has nothing to do with Tobe's personality or Tony Liggett's personality or whatever people are out there saying and trying to spread. The reason Carroll County doesn't want to house him is because they can't protect him. And they know it. They don't have the manpower. What does that protection mean? And we've talked about that before. You're going to need somebody that can pretty much watch him 24/7. And that costs money. And if you don't have the bodies to do that, then that becomes a problem. I mean, even even in Westville Correctional, in the prison itself, they were having companions watch these prisoners, which if you listen to Ruckus, that's a joke. It's not something that they really should be doing. It's like it's their way of saving money, you know. So anyway, I did watch another person who was arraigned this week, and I talked about his case with you last Tuesday. Yeah, last Tuesday. But Chad Dorman out of Ohio, he was arraigned this week. He pled not guilty, by the way, to slaughtering his 3 little boys. And he came to court in his orange jumpsuit, and he sat there and, looked straight ahead. And when the judge read off his 20, I think there's 24 counts he's got against him, 24 counts against this guy. And they had to all be read out in court by the prosecution. He just sat there stoic, and when the judge asked him if he understood, he said yes. And I'm sorry, it's really hard for me with that particular case. To look at, oh yeah, Shane, that video of his arrest, that body cam footage is unbelievable, gut-wrenching. I can't imagine what those men went through that came upon that scene with those little boys shot in the head with a rifle. CJK, if they move him to Cass County, he would be in his own cell, and it would be padded. It would be a safety cell for those who are on suicide watch, because he is supposedly on suicide watch. Yeah, he just sat on the front porch with it, Stephanie, right next to him, with his wife still in the house. And his young daughter had ran to the fire department down the street and to get help. And, he was so matter of fact about it. And they're walking him to the cop car to put him in the car. And he's like, "Can you please grab my wallet out of my pants?" I love the cop's response. "You have the right to remain silent, and you might want to take it." I mean, you can tell that they had a difficult time dealing with him, knowing what he had just done. And I just don't get how he can sit there and plead not guilty. It was just, I was floored. I really truly was floored by that. But okay, maybe they're going to try to use some sort of mental snap, or he snapped or whatever, but I don't buy it. So yeah, that went on, and that was pretty really awful. I wanted to tell you guys about what's going on with Suzanne Morphew. For those of you that know that we follow that case here, something happened yesterday. Something came out. The prosecution came out and said that Suzanne is in a very difficult spot about her suspected location of Suzanne's body. And it could be months or even years before prosecutors have enough evidence to prove Suzanne Morphew was murdered and bring the case to trial. Now, if you remember right, they did charge her husband, Barry Morphew, with her death. And they arrested him. And right before they were supposed to have a pretrial hearing, they dropped the charges, only to be able to bring the charges again. Just because they dropped them doesn't mean that they couldn't refile them. And that could be a long time. It could be quick, it could be long. It depends on a lot of our investigation, said 11th Judicial Deputy District Attorney Mark Hurlburt in court on Monday. In one of the boldest statements made in open court regarding the struggling case, Hurlburt insisted that investigators suspect they know where her body is located. She is in a very difficult spot, and we actually have more than just a feeling. And the sheriff's office is continuing to look for Mrs. Morphew's body, he said. The hearing was called after Barry Morphew's attorneys requested to keep records in the case sealed indefinitely. Prosecutors in March of 2022, before the case was dismissed, filed a motion to admit statements Suzanne Morphew allegedly made to her best friend about the couple's failing marriage. Earlier, defense attorney Iris Eiton accused prosecutors of operating on a hunch and going after Barry Morphew's for first-degree murder. Park County District Judge Amanda Hunter ordered the records to be unsealed, but as of Monday afternoon, they had not been made public. Once unsealed, they could shed light on Suzanne Morphew's mindset as she poured her heart out to her best friend, Sheila Oliver. 3 months before she vanished from the couple's remote mountain home near Salida, Colorado, Suzanne Morphew, 49, was planning to leave Barry Morphew, her husband of 25 years. The conversations which revealed her spiraling marriage to her best friend would have been crucial to the prosecution's case had it ever gone to trial. Morphew's thoughts were recorded on text on a spy pen and relayed to investigators through the memory of Oliver. The two met while they were students at Purdue University and remained close. Still, the public heard some of those conversations during Barry Morphew's August 2021 four-day evidentiary hearing through testimony of FBI Special Agent Ken Harris. The details of Suzanne Morphew's alleged comments to Oliver provided below came from Harris's testimony in open court. Heartfelt communications from Morphew strengthened the prosecution's theory, revealed in the evidentiary hearing that Barry Morphew had reason to kill his wife Mother's Day weekend of 2020. In motions filed a month before Barry Morphew's first-degree murder trial was scheduled to begin, the government wanted to get them admitted. But because Suzanne Morphew's body was missing, the case was dismissed without prejudice April 19, 2022. Prosecutors felt they would have a better chance of convicting the father of two if they waited for stronger evidence. To dismiss a case without prejudice means that the case can be retried. Morphew's attorneys specifically wanted the court to keep the case's pretrial records under wraps in order to protect Barry Morphew's constitutional rights. Morphew became a free man when the case was dismissed, but his attorneys said he's struggling to get his life back to normal. One of the motions Eiton wanted kept from a potential jury's eyes was a request by prosecutors to allow Suzanne Morphew's words about her failing marriage to be admitted at trial. During Monday's hearing, Eiton argued that revealing Suzanne Morphew's frame of mind about her marriage would be bad for Barry as he attempts to make a living and restart his life after 3 years of being the only suspect in her disappearance. There is a cloud of suspicion, unfortunately, that's hanging over Mr. Morphew's head as a result of the prosecution's continued statements that they have a hunch that he had something to do with Miss Morphew's disappearance. She called the prosecution's words in pretrial motions untrue inflammatory, and prejudicial. Hurlburt said that except for one erroneous instance in one of their motions, everything filed has been the truth. We are going to continue to look for her body, said Hurlburt. We are simply trying to get this case prosecutable, whether that is against the defendant or against someone else. At the time of her disappearance, Suzanne Morphew was having a long-distance affair with a high school flame and wanted to leave Barry to be with him. According to the evidentiary hearing, Morphew and Jeff Libler, a Michigan father of 6, saw each other several times and fell in love. The affair was discovered when law enforcement found a spy pen in Suzanne Morphew's closet, which she purchased to place in Barry's vehicle because actually she suspected him of having an affair. In text messages and conversations relayed to investigators by Oliver, Suzanne Morphew wanted to leave her husband, who she felt was turning their 2 daughters, Macy and Mallory, against her. He pulled Macy in again and left. My heart hurts for her, Morphew texted. At the time, Macy Morphew was still in high school and living at home. Her older sister, Mallory, was in college. Other statements revealed in the motion show Morphew felt her husband was too controlling and unstable. She described him to Oliver as a narcissist. Suzanne Morphew's phone was never found, but prosecutors were able to pull up her text messages by searching Oliver's phone. Barry Morphew has maintained his innocence in Suzanne Morphew's death since the day she was reported missing on May 10th, 2020. After nearly a year of investigation, Chaffee County sheriffs arrested Morphew in connection with his wife's murder. He was released on bail the following September after his preliminary hearing when 11th Judicial District Judge Patrick Murphy ordered him bound over for trial. One instance during Monday's virtual hearing showed how hard it is to control the curious public in a high-profile case. One of the people listening into the hearing identified publicly on the WebEx as Barry killed Susan. Eiton interrupted and Judge Hunt removed the unknown listener from the proceedings. So my heart goes out to Suzanne Morphew and her family. I know that there are people out there diligently looking for her. Real GonZo is one of them, and continues to be behind the scenes working these cases. Remember that sometimes the wheels of justice turn slowly, but I do think in the end they will get him. I think it's horrible that he is out and able to live his life knowing what he took from the world. And the fact that he was able to turn his daughters against their own mother is pretty sad as well. But we will continue to follow that case and see where that's headed. If that information is allowed to come out, it will be quite interesting to see. Her best friend has talked a lot about the conversations between her and Stephanie, or her and Suzanne. Sorry, Stephanie. I saw your name. So yeah, Suzanne wanted out and he did not want her to go. So they say that the most dangerous time for women is after they have told a partner, spouse, or boyfriend that they're leaving, it's those critical hours when they're trying to leave. That's when they're the most vulnerable for having some sort of violence happen to them. And that's statistical. That's out there. So she's, Suzanne's just one of many that happen. And it's extremely sad. And I don't really understand why men seem to think that they own people or own women. I will never understand people who feel that they have that kind of ownership of someone. When you're in a relationship, it's like, come on, you don't own somebody. And just because that mindset of, if I can't have them, then no one will. I mean, that's just bizarre to me. Move on, go find somebody that actually wants to be with you. Why would you want to sit and kill somebody? I just don't get it. But then I'm not that type of person. So it's, yes, Stephanie, you're right. Most time it is men murdering women, not the other way around. And most of the time when women are murdering the men, it's because the men have been abusive to them. Most of the time, not always, obviously, but most of the time. So, but yeah, it's really sad. It's, I mean, it's, we stop and think about, these cases, and I look at the differences in them and some of the similarities in them and the common denominators or whatever. And it's truly eye-opening when you really think about it, because as you watch them and you look at the difference in the states, you look at the difference in the demographics of people that live where live there, whatever, you can see how cases are handled differently. It's so apparent to me, and that everything is not on an equal playing field. And I think that is part of what's broken with our judicial system. I still believe that our judicial system is the best out there. I believe that it is a good basic system, the basis of it, but there's some things that need to change. And our laws need to change so that some of these criminals are not out to commit these crimes in the first place. Because if you look at, and obviously Richard Allen nor Brian Kohberger fall into this, neither one of them have criminal past as far as being incarcerated for it or arrested for it. We don't know if they've committed crimes before. They've never been caught. Let's put it that way. But 9 times out of 10, when they find these guys that commit these kinds of horrific deeds, it's not their first rodeo. They've been in trouble. Some of them have arm-length rap sheets, which, they've been in trouble for this, for that. And there were all kinds of warning signs. Maybe they've already been incarcerated and they were let go for good behavior or whatever the heck they think they can get them off on. And then they end up killing somebody. Just like we saw in Oklahoma just a little over a month and a half ago. He annihilated his entire family along with 2 teenage friends of his daughters. I mean, it's just, and obviously not his biological children, but still, he was in jail. He was in jail, and he was let out. So we just need to re-examine why we keep people in jail and the ones that need to be there versus the ones that are there, and really take a hard look at that, I think. And it is hard to imagine tech death, anybody killing. For any normal person, we just don't see it. We can't understand it. So now getting back to what CJK said earlier about the attacks that have been going on, from what I understand, I haven't watched any of this content. I don't watch these channels. I don't listen to them. I don't agree with any content that they put out. I have no desire to be a part of the drama scene in and around Delphi. But I will say this in regards to it. These channels that continually isolate and pick people out in the community, whomever they are, to go hard at and to threaten and to dox and to actually dox their personal information, putting out all kinds of information that none of us would want put out on the internet. Something needs to be done by YouTube regarding these people. This is not freedom of speech. This is harassment, bullying. This is almost to the point of cyber stalking. These are all things that YouTube's terms of service stand against, and YouTube says they're against, and that they will not allow on their platform. I'm here to say to YouTube that that's not true, because now I've watched it for well over a year and a half by many different channels doing this. And this isn't about drama, you guys. This is about Abby Williams and Liberty German, and the fact that their lives were snuffed out by this monster living in plain sight who just blended in with the community for nearly 6 years. You turn them in by going to the channel. You go to their About section and you flag the account, and you can flag the content. If it happens to be a live stream or a video, you can click on it, and it will allow you to report it, and it will report it for bullying and for all of the things. And it's sad. And what's really sad, you guys, is if they do ban them or they do get their channels taken down, they just come back as somebody else with another new channel. There's a couple of people in this community, of the Delphi community, that have done that. I've watched them do that over and over and over again for well over a year and a half. And, Jean, I don't know why people won't turn them in, but I will tell you this. There are people that enjoy this kind of content, and they enjoy this kind of drama. And they're drama seekers. And they go, because these channels wouldn't exist if people didn't watch and listen to them. They wouldn't be out there doing this if they didn't have people watching and tuning in. So just remember that, and put yourself in the shoes of the person who's being attacked and who's being vilified. Stop and remember, the person doing this doesn't even know this person. They've never met them. They've never talked to them. And yet they feel that they have a right to do this. And I've had someone I love very much this happen to. And she went through hell with And it was very hard to watch and not bring it into my own channel, because I didn't want to do that to my subscribers and to my members. I want to stay out of the drama. So I try not to mention the names of these people, mention their channels, give them any kind of publicity whatsoever. And I will continue to stand on that platform. But people that tend to do this to others, as far as I'm concerned, are cowards. These bullies are cowards. It's just sad, like I said. Anyone who enjoys watching someone's feelings or life being destroyed by someone else online has some serious issues, because some of the stuff being done, it's not just someone saying something about you. It's more than that. Like I said, when you start doxing people and having their real information put online, their social security numbers, for Christ's sake, the documents for when they purchased a home, what the hell? That is just not right. There are sick people out there. And it's, we talk about the internet and how unsafe it is for our children. It's just as unsafe for adults, you guys, because there are some really sick individuals that are out there. And when you preface it with, I'm going to cover true crime cases, and I'm going to talk about two little girls case, especially that was murdered, and then all you do is bring up all this crap, it's hurtful to the families. And it really bothers me. And I will always stand up and say that, because I do have a platform. And so I will say it. And I'm sure that I'm going to be attacked tomorrow. There'll probably be a video about me or whatever. And you know what? I've got big shoulders. That's all I can say. I've been here a year and a half, and, I try to live my life and be as kind and as true of a person as I can possibly be. I'm here for the right reasons. No, Gene, I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see that happening. They're entitled to make their content, but when it goes and steps over the line, that's when things get bad, and that's when it needs to be reported and stuff. And we just need to really make sure, like I said, you guys, words matter. That old adage from when I was a little kid growing up, that sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's not true. Words can hurt. And people who hide behind this, they hide behind this because they can type whatever the heck they want to on this keyboard and pretend to be whatever. And it's sad. Like I said, I just don't understand. And I know Delphi is not the only community that has this issue. There's other true crime communities that have it as well. I just don't understand. Maria and I have talked about this for a lot as to why. Finn, stop it. My cat is trying to knock over my router. Quit it. We've talked about this a lot as to why they feel that drama needs to be brought into these cases, because these cases are so sad and these families go through hell trying to deal with everything that they're dealing with, and without having all of this to listen to. And if you think for 1 minute that the families don't pay attention, well, you're wrong. So and it's one of the reasons why I get asked a lot as to why why I don't do more Delphi shows, or why I don't talk more about Delphi. And if you'll notice, there are times when I don't. Thanks, Westeros Will. And it's part of it is because there's only so much. And when the drama hits, I really have to take a step back, because I'm not that kind of person, and I don't want to live around the drama. I don't want to be around the negative, you guys. I myself live with anxiety. I have medication that I'm prescribed for it. I do all kinds of things to try to help keep my anxiety under control. I was diagnosed with PTSD soon after I lost, well, not really soon, probably about 7 years after I lost my son. And I have a lot of different issues stemming from all of that. And the negativity that is brought about with the drama in this community really can be nauseating at times and really hard to deal with. And you get to a point where you just need to take a step back. And if that means not being online, and if that means not doing live streams, if that means whatever, it's called self-care. It's hard. It's hard enough to cover the stuff I cover and not get emotionally scarred or traumatized by it. Because I do research a lot of cases. I watch a lot of content, and not on YouTube, just content where I'm looking for, I have a subscription to newspapers.com where I can go look at old newspaper articles about cases that are older that we don't know about. Yeah, Beach Fairy, I'm hearing you. Thank you so much. So I just, like I said, I just wanted to put that out there, because if and when you ever wonder why I'm not here, a lot of times it's because of self-care. I need to take care of myself. I need to emotionally recharge. The case in Ohio with the 3 little boys being shot by their father really took a lot out of me emotionally. That case was really hard. So I just wanted to end my stream with that today, you guys. I wanted to say that there's been a lot of good people that I have met along the way, and a handful of them are people that I believe will be lifelong friends. And I appreciate them, every one of them. I will tell you that I got into diamond painting. So I am a diamond painting fool. And it's one of the things that helps with my anxiety. So when I'm not here, a lot of times that's what I'm up to. Maria helps to keep me grounded. I love her so much. She has become a very dear friend. And when I'm not having a good day or whatever, I can actually bounce stuff off of her, and I feel good about that. But all of you that come here for the right reasons, I respect you and thank you for being here. Oh, diamond painting, you need to look it up. You will be surprised. It's an amazing craft that started back in 2018. And if you ever did counted cross stitch or cross stitching, if you like that kind of thing, or if you like to paint by numbers, you will love diamond painting. It's amazing. I may do a diamond painting show for you sometime. Diamond painting and crime or something like that. Who knows? Hey, Frank Meister, how are you, my dear? It's so good to see you. I hope you're staying well. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because I realize that there's a lot going on, and I get emails about it and people tell me about it and so forth. And I try to do my best to stay out of it. But when you go after people that I care about, it's really hard to not say something. But anyway, guys, I am going to jump off here. As far as what's going on in Delphi, I just want, Frank, you're doing a great job. I love the fact that you're able to go to court and keep us abreast at what's happening out there. The court filings, that's important. All of that stuff is important. We need to focus on the case at hand. They have someone in custody. We need to follow that to the end, you guys. And that's what my message is. And Lisa's right. Lisa, Lisa is stating, Stephanie said that Delphi is pretty much solved. Well, they have their person. That's definitely true. So we need to, watch and see what's going to happen. There are so many other cases out there that need to be covered. And if you guys don't get a chance, please make sure you're watching The Inquisitor. His channel's amazing. I can't say enough about him. He is constantly covering amazing content. So make sure that you're watching The Inquisitor's channel. Please make sure that you're watching True Crime Maria. She keeps putting out some really good content, you guys. And so when you're looking for non-dramatic content, go there. And the thing I love about the Inquisitor, my good friend, he is covering cases that need to be covered. There's more out there than just Delphi. And yes, I started my channel because of Delphi, but I realized the importance of these other cases as well. And now that I'm getting a platform and I have this following, it's important to me. But anyway, much love, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day. My voice is starting to go. For everyone here in the Midwest, all of my friends in Indiana, those of us here in Illinois, we are all suffering from the wildfires in Canada. The smoke is unbelievable today. I can't get over how cloudy it is, and you can just see it hanging in the air. I saw a video this morning on Indianapolis, and it's just covered the city. It's just wow. I mean, seriously. Oh, Beach Fairy, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. Everyone who hangs in and listens to me ramble and go on and on and on. I so appreciate you. All of you. So thank you so much. I hope you guys all have a good rest of your Tuesday. And please be kind. It doesn't take anything to be kind. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good day.